Welcome back to Can Angels Fly. I'm Nancy. And today I'm here to tackle an important subject. And the subject is something that everybody deals with, and it's contracts. Whenever you hear me give a tarot reading, you will hear me say, whenever it comes to the number seven, a seven of swords, a seven of wands, a seven of pentacles, or a seven of cups, I say, the seven represents you entering a contract with another, hopefully with the intent of producing something that's beneficial to both parties. I will also say that the seven is an odd number, therefore it's an imbalance. For me, that represents a question. Will you be able to produce something that's beneficial to both parties? The chances are you have two chances, two possibilities. And those possibilities are A, you are able to come together, either work together under pentacles in order to manifest something that is beneficial to both parties or a representation of both parties, or you are able to come together and brainstorm and come up with the same idea or an agreeable idea through the swords, or under the wands, you're able to come together and move forward on something that's beneficial to both parties. And for the cups, you can come together with another, and if you emotionally mash together, end up fitting together, clicking together on a deep emotional level, you're able to produce something, a workable relationship. The other option or possibility of the seven B is that you can enter into a contract with another in order to hopefully produce something that's beneficial to both parties. But that goal of producing something to both parties is not accomplished. Under the seven of swords, if the parties are not capable of coming together, brainstorming, and coming up with the same plan, then it leads to discord, disharmony, the imbalance of the seven, that odd number. Or wands, you come together and everybody's doing something differently and not focusing on one cause, aim, purpose, or desire. There's a problem. Under pentacles, you come together with another and you're both working for two different goals. There's a breakdown in the relationship. And finally, if you come together under the cups in order to move forward and try to produce something that's beneficial to both parties, under cups it says that, well, you get with this person and you don't understand each other emotionally. You don't feel each other. There is another avenue of a breakdown in the partnership, the connection, the contract, whether in your personal life or in business. So, this is so important to every person watching, every person that does not watch, and every person in the world. It doesn't matter if you believe in astrology or tarot or not. This is a really major aspect in life, and we must understand it in order to be successful. Now, let's see what I need to talk about. I guess I'll go a little more over the tarot cards because that's what my channel is about, reading tarot cards. So, let's first reflect upon the Seven of Swords. Well, let's talk about what swords means. I have written here, swords is air, and that's the realm of communication, the intellect. It is the mental level of consciousness. It's the mind and the intellect, thoughts, attitudes, and beliefs. The seven, entering a contract with another, hopefully to produce something that's beneficial to both parties. So, are you two thinking alike? Do you have the same attitudes? Do you have the same beliefs? If not, this is a place for the devil to come play and ultimately to cause discord or imbalance in your life and in your relationship or partnership. Now let's go focus on wands, which is fire. And I have written here that the fire represents the primal energy, spirituality, inspiration, determination, strength, intuition, creativity, ambition, expansion. So here we go. You enter a contract with another, hopefully to produce something that's beneficial to both parties. So when you enter this partnership, this contract with another, do you two share similar like primal energies? Some people can really control their primal energies and others cannot. So can you imagine getting in a relationship or a connection or a contract with another? You can control your primal energies, sexual nature, where they cannot. Well, here we have the emergence of the Three of Cups, the Lovers in reverse, the Three of Swords, and also the Three of Pentacles in reverse. Yes, there's a breakdown just because one has control over those primal energies and the other does not. Let's talk about spirituality because that's on the other end of the spectrum. You come and you enter a contract or attachment with another, hopefully to produce something that's beneficial to both parties. One party is highly spiritual, highly aware, awakened, while the other is not. They are grounded in this physical world, and their chase is about the monetary, about the tangible. There's another place for the devil to play and to cause a breakdown, a discord in the partnership or the contract. Let's look at the Pentacles. Pentacles is earth. Now, I have some key words here. Again, is the material aspect of life, work, business, trade, property, money, possessions, working to manifest. Now, here we go again. You enter a contract with another, hopefully to produce something that's beneficial to both parties. Well, will you? Well, let's see. If you enter a contract with another and you are a workaholic, you are very detail oriented and determined and focused, your work ethic is up there. It is about manifestation. But you enter a contract with another, whether professionally or personally, and the other person is lackadaisical. I'll go to work when I want to go to work. They don't see the significance in the commitment to work. Well, once again, there's another place for the devil to play, to come in. And here is the breakdown of the relationship. It can be as far as money management. You're very serious. You budget. You have budgets. You count your checkbook up and down. And you really watch your money. You don't have to be a spendthrift or just really really tight a miser. But you're reasonable. You're responsible. You're an adult. You're mature. And you go enter a contract with another, whether in business or personal, that, oh, I saw these shoes and they were $500 and I got them, but the light bill is due. Again, there's a place for the devil to play, and there is the breakdown of the relationship. The next suit and the last suit is the cups. Cups is the water element, and it is described or defined through the terms of emotional level of consciousness. It is expression of your feelings. It is love. It's feelings overall, relationship and connections, spontaneous responses, habitual reactions to situations. Okay. Well, here we go once again. You enter a contract with another in order to hopefully produce something that's beneficial to both parties. Well, will you? Well, let's see. You enter a contract and you're with another and you're mature and you're calm. You know how to express yourself. You know how to control your urges and responses. You know how to think about things. And you're not truly impulsive. You're not dead, but you try to be mature about the situation as you engage the other, as you try to go about your negotiations. But the other is very impulsive and hot and argumentative. They're really in their primal energy. And, going back to the wands, right into their primal energy. And there's another place for the devil to play and break down the contract. So, let's see. When I chose to discuss the topic of contracts, I said, this must be addressed because I believe, it is my belief that we don't understand just how many contracts we enter in our lifetime. Every day, all day long, with everybody, we in contracts. We got stacks and stacks and stacks of contracts going on in this world during our lifetime. Some we are very successful in, and others we are not. But the whole thing is to understand that we are in contracts with everybody and everything. Now, I wrote this little script or layout months ago. It's kind of long, so I'm like procrastinating, but I'm gonna go ahead and get it done because I notice when I watch my videos, it's starting to talk a lot about contracts and interacting with others, and engaging with others. Hopefully, to produce something that's beneficial to both parties. But in many of the private readings I'm getting, it is not benefiting both parties. It is lopsided. It is out of balance. And it's benefiting one party over the other. So let's talk about these contracts. First, I guess the next thing I like to talk about is the type of contracts that we enter in life. And we might not even consider them contracts. It might be somewhere else in my layout. That's why I brought it up, that I wrote it months and months ago because I don't really remember. But for right here, right now, I believe it's important that we talk about some of the contracts we enter. Some we enter consciously. Others we are led to enter subconsciously. Let's talk about some of the subconscious contracts we enter. And we either have to master or move away from. Well, soon as you pop out the womb, guess what? Sign here. You have entered a contract with your moms and pops. And there are terms and conditions and all this. You both sign with your soul. Not only is it your mom and pops, then it's your siblings. And your cousins. It start moving out that third house. Your mom, your pops, your siblings, your aunts, your uncles, your cousins. Then as you grow up, it's people from your neighborhood and your community. Yeah. And the outreach keeps growing and spreading. Then when you go off to school, it's your schoolmates. And we go on and we keep moving out into the world. You got your schoolmates, your teachers. And let's go out. Then you got one with your doctors. You got one, let's see, what else can we do? Hold on, then you get to the age where it's time to go to work. Okay, well now you got a contract with your employer, with your coworkers, Heck, you might have to take public transportation. You got a contract with the person that drives that public transportation, the bus, the train, whatever you take. You're coming together with another in order to hopefully produce something that's beneficial to both parties. It doesn't stop there. As I sit here on YouTube and speak about you, I have a contract with you, And I entered this contract with you, hopefully to produce something that's beneficial to both parties. Question mark. We'll see. Anyway, if you can just let your mind just flow and be free and ride the wave with me, Keep looking outwards into the world and seeing the contracts you have. Down through the years, like I said, you have contracts with schools and the government. You have contracts with religion, those kind of things. Spirit is, I don't want to say spirituality, but more religion. You have contracts. Let's see if we go around a zodiac. Aries, you have a contract with yourself. Taurus, you do have contracts with your belongings, your wealth, your savings, your bank, that kind of thing. As I talked about Gemini with the siblings, the aunts, the uncles, the cousins. Cancer, your own personal family. How about the mate you choose to engage? You understand? To really get with. That kind of thing. Leo, I'll take Leo. Leo is a prime example of a contract we often overlook. This is something that I've noticed in the personal readings that I give, is that your heart. See, Leo is the fifth house, is your heart. Who you are internally, who you have become through your life journey, what you brought into here, it's all in here. It's all in your heart. And at some point in time in your life, you will be called to express yourself. Your fabulous self. Here you go, center stage, it's all you. That's your Leo. And to bring it out, well, that's your contract, one of the contracts you might have with yourself for this experience. Will you fulfill it? That's that number 7, the odd number. It's a question mark. Will you fulfill a contract to yourself to be to be free, to be your fabulous self in this world? Some people do, and some people don't. Let's see. Virgo, that could be your work ethic, going back to your employers and your co-workers and what you're willing to put out here in this world. How much force will you put behind your work? There are contracts, what I'm trying to get, that you have with yourself. Will you fulfill them or won't you? There are contracts that you have with the outside world. Will they be successful or not? And so when you get to the 7th house of Libra, it talks about the opportunity to enter these contracts with others. That's the cup suit. Making that connection. Having a sense of belonging. Moving forward using your intuition. Why are you using your intuition? To see if you can connect with the right people. Are you picking up on the signs that you are entering or headed into entering a contract that will not serve you? You understand? And so as we move around to the 8th house of Scorpio, you start entering like, how intensely and emotionally involved are you with the other side of the contract? What are you willing to go? How far are you willing to go? Is it worth it? And all this, I'm just going around the house as if I've lost you. All of this depends, your choices depends on your life experiences that ultimately have developed your 9th house, your belief system. This is what you believe in. What you believe in about the world at large and what you believe about yourself in the world. And so what you believe, that leads us to the next house of Capricorn. I'm sorry, I'm looking at my chart up there on the wall. Capricorn. So whatever you believe, you're going to put your energy into. And you're going to move forward in it. And Capricorn represents what you're seeing for in the world. People see this. They see your beliefs. They see your beliefs about yourself. Self-esteem. You see? It is reflected or revealed through your contracts you have with others. Sometimes we enter contracts and we give too much. We put up with too much. That's shown in the world under Capricorn, the 10th house. You're so dedicated to something that's not beneficial to you. So, you have to ask yourself, is it worth it? The 11th house of Aquarius is the house of gains. As you go out and you associate with the world at large, what will you gain? It's still going back to these contracts you have. What are you gaining through these contracts? And then the Pisces, the 12th house of Pisces is the final outcome of all your experiences, of all your beliefs, of all the experience overall, especially in those contracts. What position has it put you in or led you to be in? you know. And so when we're talking about contracts, because that's what this video is about, contracts, y'all, you know, please sign here. Well, let me talk about the final phase. If a person enters a contract with another, whether it be professionally or personal, hopefully with the intent of producing something that's beneficial to both parties, but the outcome is, or the experience is, the relationship is lopsided. One of those four elements, either earth, water, what is it? Earth, water, fire, or air, is out of balance. You don't line up. You don't have anything in common. The relationship breaks down. The contract is breaking down. You don't understand why. You understand what's going on, and you get this emotional damage. You know, the final outcome is what goes on in the 12th house. What is everybody seeing, and what is happening? You know, 12th house. What has happened? Depression, sadness, fear, regret. Some people commit suicide. Some people go into mental hospitals. Some people withdraw, isolate themselves. These are the responses or the outcomes that can happen from the failure of a contract to be successful. Okay. Anyway, let's go. You know how I like to do things. The first thing I want to do is read, or the next thing I want to do is read the definition of contracts. We're going to understand what's going on in our relationships, in our jobs, etc., etc. All right. The definition of contracts I have written here. A contract is an agreement between two or more parties. As a parties. And I want you to understand, parties mean that significant other, you know, your mom, your schoolmate, the job you enter, whatever is the other side of the contract, the other party. You're one party, they're the other party. And as I said, it can be two or more. Okay, I'll start again. I know I ramble. A contract is an agreement between two or more parties for the doing or not doing of something specified. And I go back to when I covered each element of air, fire, earth, and water. It's the doing or not doing something that's specified. And when it was specified under swords, it was the ability to think alike, to be able to plan, to be able to, and it's all about a collaboration in either element, or to have the same desires or aims or passions. Earth, to be able to work on the same level with the same intensity for the same goal. And water, to feel the same way, to vibe, to reciprocate that emotional attachment. You know, and it's either doing it, either one of those, you're either doing it or you're not. That's what's specified. Okay. It says that a contract is an agreement enforceable by law. And this is a highlighted place. A contract is an agreement enforceable by law. And right here, what I want you to understand, that there are multiple levels of law. We always up under law. We have the physical laws of man, you know, on our land, our courts, our government create for us, you know. We have the laws of nature, and we have laws of the universe. So I bring that up to say, even if you don't get married up under the law of the land, so to say, go to the government and court and get that piece of paper, but yet you're residing with each other. What is it called? Cohabitation or something like that. You're just residing with each other. You're acting as a man and woman. You are in a contract. And there are laws that are universal laws. They are universal laws that govern your contract. Yeah. And so we're going to go over this because we don't understand what's going on after this video. We will. Let's see. Oh, I have some more definition for contracts. I have here contracts may relate to performance of a service, sale, or transfer of ownership of property, or a combination of these types of transactions. Parties to a contract may be individuals, partnerships, corporations, or even governments. There may be more than two persons to a contract. Now, for this video, we're going to just focus on one-to-one contracts. Major contract we're always dealing with is that romantic interest, that other, that one that's so significant in your life you done gave your heart to. We're concentrating on that person. Whoever he or she is in your life or was in your life. We're talking about that contract. But whatever you learn here, you can put it in any contract. Put it on any contract. Parallel it. So you'll understand what's going on. The next thing we need to be aware of is that there are various types of contracts. Various types of contracts. And let's see if I can... I don't remember. Okay. There are 4 various types of contracts. And so we're going to go over all 4 of these contracts because they have to do with our whole lives. They have to do with us obtaining our happiness. They have to do with us making good decisions. So we're going to go over all 4. The first contract is formation. Let's see. Oh, I see. It's been a long time since I wrote this. Well, formation. This type of contract has 3 different parts to it. There is under formation is express contracts, implied contracts, and it's been a long time I checked this word. I'm going to spell it. It's QUASI contract. Quasi. Been a long time. I don't remember how to pronounce it. Contracts. Let's see if I made a note here so I can remember how to pronounce it. I did not. Well, anyway, the third one is QUASI contract. Now, let's talk about this express contract first. It says, an express contract is a type of, I'm just going to use the kind I wrote. And I said I'm working more on one-on-one relationships. Think about the whole process to a relationship. You don't know the person. You meet them. You have to learn who they are. You decide to hook up with them. You start your life together. And whatever happens, the question is the remainder of that process. So, as we move forward, keep that in mind as I share these types of contracts and the things that can happen in the contracts. Okay. As I said, we're starting with formation, and the first part or the subcategory of formation is express contracts. Now, here's an example of an express contract. I wrote, a good-looking, energetically sexy person offers to take you on a date, and you accept. That's it. That quick. You've entered a contract. You minding your own business. Look up, and here comes some sexy mother suckers. Shut your mouth, and they notice you, and they show interest in you. Immediately, they ask you out on a date, and you accept. Contract. Actually, it's an express contract. And this is under formation. All right. I think. Let's see. Yeah. I wonder how I did that. I missed something. All right. Nevertheless, we're going to move on to number 2 under formation, and it's called implied contract. And I don't know why. Oh, I wrote it here. I just got them out of order. Well, let's see. Here's my example of an implied contract. All right. The implied contract, it says, you work at a diner. Your station and duty are at the cash register because you are the cashier. Just beside the register is the first seat at the counter. Every day, the same good-looking, energetically sexy person takes that first seat right near you. I don't care if they have to wait for it. They always right there near you. Day after day or month after month, whenever they come, same seat has to be near you where you stand at that cashier register ready to perform your duties. And okay, yeah. Ultimately, over time, you may hook up, end up asking for a date. But we're talking about somebody that just chronically comes, may do a little flirting, that kind of thing. Well, that's an implied contract. You know they're going to come at that time. They're flirting with you, and you're flirting back with them. That's an implied contract. And over time, that date may come. It's an implied contract. We don't know if it's going to end up on the date. You don't know anything about them. They don't know anything much about you. You sharing light little information, having light little discussions, and like I said, a lot of flirtation taking place. It's an implied contract. That's 7. Where will it go after repetitive experiences of that same thing, that repetitive pattern that you are in? Now, let's talk about the third type of contract or subcategory to formation. And it's that Q word. Quasi. Q-U-A-S-I. Go ahead and look it up. Challenge you. Anyway, this contract, and the example I have written here is, you are sitting at your favorite restaurant having lunch, and this mysterious, strange, good-looking, energetically sexy person comes and sits right next to you at your table. They come sit right there. They may even, ask, is this seat taken? And when they find out that it is not, they decide to sit right with you. Chairs everywhere, but they want to sit with you. Now, let me see. It's like I didn't get enough information. It says, there will be no offer related with this particular subcategory of formation. We're dealing with contracts. There will be no offer and acceptance. Oh, I guess he can't even ask. He just come sit down and just take control of the situation. Actually, there will be no contractual relationship between the parties. Such a contract, which is created by virtue of law, is called Q-U-A-S-I, quasi contract. And underneath that particular category of quasi contract, it says that what can happen in this particular case when a person just comes and have a seat at your table unannounced, uninvited, and you don't accept, they just sit there, and you have lunch together. That's the example. It says that when expenses of one person are paid by another person, they just sit there, take up the check, and walk out the door. Like, what just happened? That kind of thing. Well, okay, I had a nice, I guess, fairly quiet kind of lunch with a stranger, and they picked up the bill. That, too, is a contract. It says when one party is benefited by the activity of another party. Mm, that's great. Mm. It can even go like this. You're sitting in your favorite restaurant having lunch. A stranger comes along and just sits at the table with you, even though there are a bunch of tables open. Sit there with you, fairly quiet lunch with the stranger sitting at the table. Maybe you're not saying anything because you like, I guess they got something to say. And they might say hi or whatever. Anyway, if you get up and leave, and you might leave your laptop or Blueberry or whatever, and that person finds your merchandise or your item, that's a contract. And so again, remember, it's about doing or not doing. What will they do with that particular item that you left behind, or vice versa, they left behind? What will you do? This is a contract. These are that is truly a subconscious contract that you're entering. You don't even know you're entering. Here comes some stranger sitting at the table with you and forcing you into a contract. And this is by law. This is by law of the land now. So you got to be careful what you engage in. Anyway, let's see if I can. Okay, I've done that. Now, the next, let me see if I'm doing this here right. Okay. All right. Well, let's go on to the next possible contract. And the next contract or type of contract is nature of consideration. Okay. Nature of consideration. There are 1, 2. There are two subcategories to nature of consideration, and they are bilateral and unilateral contracts. Yeah. Well, let's talk about the bilateral contracts. This is the subcategory under nature of consideration. Well, bilateral contract says pertaining, involving, or affecting two or both sides, the parties, factions, parties, or the like, equal on both sides. Okay, so this is talking about a contract where you have shared interests or shared abilities, shared goals, and you both bring them to the table. You, like, for instance, you enter a contract with an individual, like you decide to go on a date, and you both go on that date. That is bilateral. You both agree to go. You both agree to get to know each other. That is the bilateral contract. The next subcategory, oh, wait a minute. What did I write? I wrote an example. You and that good-looking, energetically sexy person move forward and engage in some, yeah, yeah, I see, Let me stop. I go back. Remember that hot, sexy, energetically steamy person that engages you and asks you out on a date? Well, you go on a date, and I guess you enjoy yourself, because the next example I have for bilateral contracts is that you and that good-looking, energetically sexy person move forward and engage in some hot, steamy sex. Yes, that is a bilateral contract. Literally, bilateral. And okay, so you both agreed to come together on a very intimate level. The next subcategory under the nature of consideration. These are types of contracts, nature of consideration. The subcategory to that is unilateral contracts. And I'm sure you have by now figured out the opposite of the bilateral contracts, coming together, having that hot, steamy sexual session with the other. Well, the unilateral contract says that you go out on a date with another, but you're not really vibing with them. But their primal energy takes control of them and they rape you. You are not agreeing. It is not consensual sex on both parts. They take advantage of you. That is a unilateral contract. That's interesting. You go out on a date. You agree to go on a date with this sexy person. And when you find out during the course of the date that I really don't like you, or I'm really not ready to move forward. But before you know it, this person has taken your advantage of you. They have, taken your innocence. And you were involuntarily bought into a contract. That's deep. A bilateral contract. 7, you entered a contract with another, hopefully to produce something beneficial to both parties. Will you? What will it be? Now that's interesting. That's real interesting. Is that you meet this sexy person, you go out on a date, you realize that you're really not digging them. However, the scene is set up, they end up taking advantage of you in a sexual way. That's the unilateral contract. You are involuntarily forced into a contract. What will it be? What if that person that you went out with had some venereal disease? And when they involuntarily manipulated you or led you or forced you into entering this bilateral contract, what will it be? That you too have that disease based on this not unilateral contract. That's the other contracts that we enter that we don't understand that we are entering. Or, that date rape can end up not only in disease, but a child. That's a result or the outcome of this of a particular contract. What kind of contract? We're talking about a unilateral contract. Use an example of date rape. What will it be? Some people have been raped, date raped, and they end up committing suicide. What will be the outcome of this unilateral contract? Give me just examples of the contracts that we enter either voluntarily or involuntarily, and we didn't know they were contracts, and they do have an outcome. Will that outcome be beneficial to both parties, or will it be lopsided? All right. Well, the next contract is execution. Types of contracts, execution. Execution contracts. And I said, executed contracts. Oh, wow. Maybe I should read. I think that I should read this over here. On this basis, contracts can be classified into 2 groups, namely executed and executory contracts. If performance is completed, if a performance is completed, it is executed contract. In case where contractual obligations are to be performed in the future, it is called executor contract. Okay. Well, I gave an example of an executed contract as when a couple elopes. One day they single. You blink your eye, they gone, and they done already did it. They done eloped. And they went and got married. So, uh, another or the other part of execution, I don't know if I said it right, execution contracts, uh, subcategory B is executory and or executor, and it's called, my example is a person that, or a couple that gets engaged. They're not doing it right now, but they have plans in the future to do so. This is contractual obligations are to be formed in the future. I just read that. So let's start from the beginning of contracts, where you first meet someone. You minding your business, here they come. You want to go out on a date. You be like, sure, you so hot and sexy. So you go out on a date, you really vibe, you feel each other. Shortly after that, you go jump in the bed together, have that hot, steamy sex. The date was a contract. The hot, steamy sex was a contract. And then we roll over and then we talk about, now we're in this one. And so now, either you can elope. It was just that good, you can't wait. So you go ahead and execute this contract and you elope. That's a contract. Or you get engaged. Either way, that's a contract. Okay. So, the next, and this is where I think things really start to culminate. Culminate? Don't mind me. It's 6 o'clock in the morning. And it really gets good because this is the types of contracts, and another type of contract, and it's called validity. Can you defend it? Can you fight for it? Can it be enforced by law? Is it validity? And it says here, I guess I'll read all of this. I haven't even cited my little source here, which I will somewhere along the way. And let's talk about validity. It says, on this basis, contracts can be classified into 5 groups, namely valid, void, voidable, illegal, or unenforceable contracts. And we wondering what's going on in our relationships. Here it is right here. Either the contracts that you enter with another, whether it be business or personal, in order to hopefully produce something that's beneficial to both parties. Well, guess what? Those contracts are under law, both law of the land and law of our universe, of this world. And they can be either valid, void, voidable, illegal, and even unenforceable contracts, meaning not even the universe can enforce them. Why? Well, we'll figure that out as we move forward. Well, let's first deal with the term a valid contract. This is what a valid contract is. You got with this person, you got married, you done got engaged, and let's see, this is the only way that your partnership, that your connection in love or business, personal, it don't matter, can be valid. It must have this: the contracts which are enforceable in a court of law. We got land law, we got universal law, those kind of things, spiritual law, are called valid contracts. Only they can be enforced in the court of law are called valid contracts. To attain validity, the contract should have certain features like consensus, addendum. I'm going to spell it because it's a law term. CONSENSUSADIDEM. Law term. Look it up. Learn something new today. certainty, free consent, two-dimensional consideration, fulfillment of legal formalities, legal obligations, lawful object, capacity of parties, possibility of performance, etc.